look, a goal!
Trying to goal! Oh, what a goal!
What's the bleeding story? Get in! Yes, I'm happy, fucking happy. Had to run down to my neighbour's house, top off, ran into his garden, knocked on the window, fuck you, and back home again. So sorry I'm late, had to celebrate. You haters, get in the bin. Where's Kyle Walsh? Where is he? He's in the bin. Let's go. What's the story? Oh, mate, I'm fucking buzzing. I'm buzzing. Even fucking Zach is out in my back garden and he's pretending he's Jorginho. I'm trying to say, relax, mate. He's not that good yet. Oh, God, I'll tell you, what a game. I didn't think the first half, I thought we were very bad. I thought, this is it. Another one of these games, we're not going to get a result. I was watching on BN Sports and Matt Holland is just there. Oh, well, it's a good game if Arsenal get out of here with the draw and stuff like that. I was screaming at the telly, no. We need the 3 points. And fair play, in the second half, Arsenal did stand up to it. And I must say, fair play. There was a few dodgy moments. There was a few good saves, but yeah, look, we get the win. And this is like, if you're going for the title run, you get the win over the line. Like, you know what I mean? These are the important games that does it. I'm going to drop a few boys in here into the chat. Big up, Manny, Central, Legends. What's the story? How are you keeping, Manny?
Yeah, all good. Listen. I was one of a lot of people, Del, who were predicting that this should be a win because Villa right now are going through a crisis of confidence, really. That's 3 games in where they've scored 3 and conceded 11. Against Leicester, if you remember, they went 1-0 and 2-1 up, but then conceded 3 in some poor moments of, lapse of concentration, some poor mistakes. Today it was the same way. Now, I was on a stream with my good mate, Stephen Featley. We all know him and we all wish him as he tries to recover. And he was still apoplectic near the end, saying that this win doesn't really paper over the cracks because, he did change it by bringing Trossard into the team for Martinelli. And of course, he yanked off Tomiyasu. But no real changes were necessarily made. And we certainly didn't look good value for the first half where we allowed them to come right in. And we were just thinking, it could be this way again. But Villa have shown that they're just not really confident. And I just don't know what's going on with them. And I do feel for them. I do like them as a team. I do like Unai Emery. Of course, I have a huge soft spot for Emi Martinez. And I will come to him before I hand it over to Central. And I will say right now that we deserve something from the game for the way we were able to keep snapping at their heels. And it just goes to show defending a 2-2 lead this late into the game, it's a common theme. If you trying to defend a 2-2 draw late into this game, and you're defending deep, but you don't really have the ability to have a better first touch on the ball, and you can't get it away, you are asking for trouble. And we were good value for the goal that we scored from Zinchenko with the corner. And a lot of people were saying, we should never have gotten Jorginho in. But I was one of those people who was eager to give him a chance. He was one of our best players against Manchester City. And that goal, beautiful. The best of Brazil and Italy all in one. Everything you could ask for. And again, with the corner, I suppose Martinez felt that he had no option but to try and go up to score, because the worst that could happen, there's no real difference between a 4-2 defeat and a 3-2 defeat. And so the problem is there was always going to be a risk that there'd be an empty goal, and all Martinelli had to do was do that. We still have a lot of issues, Del Boy. Our defense at times is still pretty awful. We lose concentration for the most part. And, again, with Arteta not really being able to work with any kind of conviction, the subs once again are going to be called into question. But once again, I will say to all those of you who were angry with Jorginho getting him in, that's 2 of the signings that we brought in so far, and they've proven to be really, really pivotal for us. And I actually believe that the way he's played, yes, pace isn't on his side, but he has the experience and the nous to know how to deal with game situations. And for him to come in and score that beautiful goal, what can you say? I think that was when the game was won, and Martinelli's empty netter was just, the icing on the cake. And it's not pretty, but sometimes as our friend Steve-O would say, the boxing enthusiast, the Aussie Gooner, I hope we'll see him on, or maybe it might be too late for him, but still, sometimes you've got to scrap these wins. And the 4-2 scoreline may flatter us at times, but we also have to say that you can only play the team in front of you. Villa simply are going through a crisis of confidence. There is a poor malaise in the team, and Unai Emery has got to set that right. Otherwise, a team which was looking to finish in the top half of the table could be back into a little bit of trouble. But for us, we're still top, still with a game in hand. And even if City win, we'll still have that game in hand. So all is not lost, and we can breathe a sigh of relief. And finally, if there are any of you Arsenal fans who see it fit right now to have a huge laugh at Emi Martinez right now, I say, wind your necks in. He was a good goalkeeper for us. He won us an FA Cup and a Community Shield, which kept Arteta in the job. He's still a world champion goalkeeper. The 4 goals that he conceded were not his fault. How unlucky can you be to see an unstoppable strike come off the crossbar, go hit the back of your head and go right in? So any of you who are willing to laugh at him, check yourselves. Thank you very much. Mute, Del Boy.
Sorry, mate. I was just going to say the upper tier here, mate. Central. What do you make of the Is the title race back on? Are you still a bit early, or what do you think?
I think I'm slightly maybe I don't say it's back on yet. We want Man City to drop points because they got Nottingham Forest today, I think. I don't think they're slipping up against Forest, but today's game, I thought, oh Jesus Christ, we're going to lose to Villa, but no, I think we pull up a fight, we got stuck in. Jorginho, man, that was a good goal. That's in my opinion, the second best goal this season for Arsenal. Number one is that Jesus goal against Leicester early on in the season, but I think Shevchenko. I was concerned about the starting 11. For once, Arteta's playing Trossard, but Trossard's been disappointed today. But Zinchenko as a left back, nope. Should have played Tierney and put Zinchenko in the midfield portion of it, But anyway, Jorginho, wow, he's starting to prove people wrong, including myself, because I wanted people want Caicedo to Arsenal, not Jorginho, but he's kind of getting stuck in. Hope he might prove us wrong, might help us push us over the line and win our first league title since the Invincibles of 04. But I think Saka got hurt. He looks gingery. Hope he's not out a very long time, because you just lost Jesus, who's I think he's coming back. And Partey's also got hurt. We don't want more injuries, because our bench it's so depleted at this moment in time, because he just loaned Marquinhos from, I don't know what club he's at on loan, but I don't know about Reece Nelson is still in our confidence. We might not win the league, but it might, we want Man City to drop points. We need to do the same thing what we did this season and the first half of the season, I'm trying to say, and try to focus on and do the same thing what they did do the same stuff we did in the first half of this season, and this time do it in the second half of the season. Who knows? Never say never, because I think this season's very funny. It had that 2015-2016 vibe for me because of Leicester City. This year we had Newcastle, who thought it's gonna challenge for the title. They're slipping up. Man United's, while they're catching up, man. It's you never know who are going to win the title. It might be Man City, it might be Man United, it might be us. We don't know. That's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, I'm looking at Saka and I'm thinking he's very tired as well. Manny, can you just sort of control there for a minute? I just have to pop for 1 second. I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is, Del, I can't really, put your comments on the stream, but I will read them as they come out. And we see the upper tier Niall saying, what a save by Ramsdale onto the bar. That was a good save. Completely agree. It was a sort of a weakish left hand, but it's one of those saves where, I don't care how you use your body as long as you use your body. And it was certainly good. Craig Malloy in the chat, AFC 87, big up to you. And hopefully once Dell is back, more of you will be added to the chat. Aces coming in with a comment saying that the defense and Eddie Nketiah totally finished the season. Agree to an extent on Nketiah because some of the misses that he made, Aces, were quite simply unforgivable. And, you would think that any striker worth his salt would be able to bury some of those chances. No shots on target for the past 5 games, as Craig would say. And as for the defense, Saliba and Gabriel are showing a lot of cracks and a lot of weakness. And against the bigger teams, we could be in trouble. Now, the upper tiers come in with a crack. Emi Martinez is still a great goalkeeper for Arsenal, to be LOL. He is also a great goalkeeper for Argentina, my friend. He is still the world champion. Alisson Becker hasn't come close, so be respectful, okay? All love. I have nothing but love for you, mate. Alan Attich in the chat. Great comeback today. Big up to you. And Ace is saying City already champions, just a matter of time. Here's where I'm going to disagree because we've seen City being able to having dropped points this season. And so far, one thing I'll tell you is that they have a bit of a makeshift defense with no real recognized left back. And at one point, I believe it was they had to bring on Akanji in the second half to make it a back 4 with Walker as a right back and 3 central defenders in there. But whatever. And so it's not over until the fat lady sings.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Odesitter says Craig, and certainly, that chance he missed was absolutely awful. Today you feel Arsenal. Yeah, 100%. Marquinhos on loan at Norwich, of course.
He's at Norwich?
Yeah, he is at Norwich. And Niall coming in with a little laughing emoji. That save was a game changer, yeah. Martina, welcome to the chat. We started poorly, but the second half was brilliant, just what we needed. And Bruce BC coming into the chat again. Eddie's been poor today, missed a lot of dog chances. Now, Central, before Dell comes back, I actually want to ask you a question. You did say that you need our City to drop points, and we still believe that they will drop points, but maybe not today against Nottingham Forest. But if they do, it's going to be a big bonus. The problem is, though, we still have some tough teams in the run-in. Yeah. Certainly some teams that will be a little bit high on confidence and hopefully are aiming to upset our apple cart. Although, we won't be playing United anymore. We won't be playing Tottenham. But we do have Newcastle at St. James's Park, Liverpool at Anfield. No, we've done the double over.
Chelsea.
And let me speak, all right? We also have to play Chelsea.
Sorry,
they're coming to the we also have to have Chelsea coming over to the Emirates and a few other games. So we still need to make sure that we get some points. But a lot of issues are going to be here right now with them. You talked about the team selection, how Trossard came in, but the subs are still going to be a problem. He once again waited.
Mm-hmm.
At least this time he brought Martinelli on 67 minutes. But Tierney still hasn't gotten any substantial minutes, and he got about 1 minute and 30 seconds left, an appearance with that much time left, as in a huge case of taking the mickey. At least he didn't do a Ronaldo and tell Arteta to go shove it. But do you still believe, Central, that Arteta's substitutions and tactics could be his worst enemy at a time like this?
This is going to be a mixed bag, I think. Like this, we don't know. This is gonna be like, man. This is I can't really explain, but I think Arteta needs to shake up. Don't do these stupid. Don't don't do some stupid tactics and stupid subs. Like, just give Tierney some games, man. It's like I feel sorry for Tierney. He came from Scotland, from Celtic, winning like league titles with Celtic. Wasn't undefeated with Celtic, and then when he came to Arsenal, and so far with Arteta, man, he's not being used. He's been overlooked, man. I don't get it, man. He needs to drop Eddie, man. He had chances in that game. I'm sick of Eddie, man. It's like he's not he's not the answer, man. He's not really the answer. So I got something in my throat. 1 second. Eddie's not the answer, man. He's just frustrated to watch. He had chances and chances. He can't finish. He can't even hit a barn door, man. It's just he needs to change up, do a little bit of a rotation, like with the defense and the attack. Stop playing Eddie up front. Just play Martinelli up front. Martinelli, Trossard, Saka, and then midfield you can play Xhaka, Zinchenko, Jorginho, and then in the defense, White, Saliba, Gabriel, and Tierney.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is though with Zinchenko scoring that goal, there will of course be the argument that Zinchenko stays. But once again, Xhaka having to be hooked off. I mean, his legs have gone. There is a part of me that would definitely like to see Arsenal play a 4-2-3-1 formation, especially with Zinchenko and Jorginho being the two defensive midfielders there. This is also assuming that Partey just can't, recover his full fitness in time. If you were to have a situation where you'd have Jorginho and Zinchenko and Odegaard and that sort of a central pivot with Odegaard attacking, and then, Saka and Martinelli on the wings, and then Trossard up front, that could work. And then Tierney would be at the left back, and then the defense would look a little bit okay as usual. We need to bring Kivior in for Gabriel because, again, he made some poor mistakes during the Manchester City game. I just think that Arteta's the type of manager who wants to show faith in his starting 11, given that, they've done well for him so far. But there comes a time when, changes have to be made. If Carlo Ancelotti was ruthless enough to drop Alexander Zinchenko, then not Zinchenko, Marco Asensio from his starting lineup near the end of their Champions League and La Liga winning season, then that just goes to show that sometimes as a manager, you've got to be a little bit ruthless. And maybe with Jorginho doing very well, could we see Thomas Partey relegated to the bench perhaps?
I think like a 44. I don't think we played a 43-1 in a very long time. I think Partey. I think like when Partey comes back, put him on the bench for the time being. Get like his match fitness up, and play him in the second half. Play Zinchenko and Xhaka. I don't want to see Odegaard as a number 10 man. He's not really a number 10. And here's the problem with the 4-2-3-1. We haven't got the right players in that position, on the wings. I'm tired with Eddie up front, man. I feel like he's not a striker, man. He's just like I said it in a past show that just rotate the position of Nketiah and Martinelli. Martinelli up front and and Nketiah on the wings. I think with Martinelli, you can tell he's better off as a striker. It's I think I prefer 4-3-3. I think our best formation for us is 4-3-3, and if you get the right players in, maybe a 4-2-3-1, but I put Partey on the bench, for the time being. Get his he's not ready to start every single game. And I think that's the problem why he got hurt. He's playing every game. He looks burnt out. He looks depleted. Our depth is still lacking. Compared to Man City, they don't need to play a starting 11. You know what I mean?
I get that. I know what you mean. And of course, now we've got Mr. Walsh in the building, live from Wexford in his car. We've won 4-2, Kyle. Where's the smile?
Kyle.
I'm very happy with this result, mate. There for a long time, I thought that was it. I predicted 2-1 myself last night to Aston Villa. I wasn't confident at all. And then today, when we went behind, I said that's it. When the first 5 minutes, I thought that was it. When Villa went 1-0 up, I said this could be a shocker for them. But we came back. We showed a lot of good character. But when Odegaard missed that open goal, I said that's it. We're after blowing us. And up comes my man Jorginho.
Yes.
Wonder strike. So I'm delighted. I am delighted. I was in a pub watching this, and I think I knocked over 2 or 3 tables when Jorginho was scoring, I think. So I'm not being put out of the pub. That's why I'm sitting in my car. I may go elsewhere because I'm not being told you may go. So serious damage done. So I'm over the moon. Great show, great character. I love the celebrations. It showed a bit of passion today. So we just march on to the next game.
Yes, we do. Marching on together, as is the slogan. Although that might be used for another club, I'm not too sure. I'm sorry to the
That's
club
Leeds,
from whom I've stolen that. What?
That's Leeds. Leeds slogan's marching on together.
Okay. So I shouldn't use that, but and of course they're playing Everton later on today. My apologies. Now, Kyle, as Central and I were discussing, obviously, with this win, it still papers over a lot of cracks, and I don't need you to tell me what the cracks are. You know what they are, but we're going to focus on some positives. One of the big questions that I had asked Central before coming on, and I'm sure you heard the answer, was that with Jorginho coming into the team, here's the thing I have. A lot of people obviously were very critical of the fact that by, getting Jorginho instead of someone else, a lot of people were thinking, his legs have gone, he might not be up to it. And it was just another penny pinching buy just for the sake of getting some central defensive midfield cover. But I'll tell you what, he's had 2 starts now against City and Aston Villa. I mean, this Villa team, quite simply, are going through a crisis of confidence. But against Manchester City, he was one of our better players. And even today, mind you, the big part about a guy like Jorginho is that with his experience and quality, he seems to know his role and play within his limitations and use his limitations, as it were, to a bit of an advantage. And it wasn't just the goal he scored today, which was a thunderous strike, with a little bit of luck from, our former goalkeeper, Emi Martinez, having it, bounce off his head into the net. I really do feel for him. And at the top of the show, I said nobody should, sneer at him because the goals were not his fault. But also, the way he was able to play today, he didn't make any real mistakes. He seemed to have enough vision as well to, link up with a few attackers and threaten a few passes. So Central and I were discussing, with Partey's fitness not being the best, and I think I could agree with you that if Partey is out for a longer spell, we could end up potentially seeing the last of him. Do you think it could be time for Jorginho to get a run in the team? And even if Partey comes back, would you now have Jorginho start ahead of him?
I think both players are kind of they bring different things to the game, to the team. Jorginho, man, he has played extremely well. I thought he was our best player against Man City. And I thought again today, he was very good again today. He knew, like you say, he knows his role. He knows what to do. We don't panic. And that was a wonderful strike. Even though it bounced off the crossbar and hit Martinelli in the back of the head. But still, at least he took the shot. But for me, I'd worry about Jorginho's legs, because he is 31 and he's had to play a lot of football. But because I'm a firm believer that if you're playing first team football and you're performing, you should never be dropped. So therefore, Thomas Partey has to work to get back into that midfield. But with Arteta there, and I know Jorginho is an Arteta man, but Partey is too. I think Partey slips back in there ahead of Jorginho when he gets back to So, yeah, I think the answer would be Partey to start and Jorginho just to be a squad player. But he's a good squad player to have for what he does. I wasn't screaming from the rooftops when we signed him, but I was screaming from the rooftops today when he hit the back of the net. So he's, in fairness, I put him down and I'm his biggest fan, but he's had to prove me wrong over the last 2 games. And that's all I ever ask from any player.
Terrific. And of course, I'm going to get to you first, Carl, with this question, then back to you, Central. So that sort of segues into another issue where obviously the worst part about this 4-2 win, I was on the stream with Stephen Featley and he was still apoplectic, saying it papers over the cracks. We still have a lot of issues and we're going to come to some of those issues. Zinchenko, of course, was another of the goal scorers, and that was certainly a terrific left-footed strike. Went through Ollie Watkins's legs, and maybe Martinez was unsighted for that. It would have been disappointing for him to concede this near post, but that was still a really good strike. But that almost seems to mask, in a way, the fact that once again, when it comes to his defensive abilities, he seems to be lacking a bit. He does lend a great deal more, being a little bit more inverted and contributing to the solidity of the midfield, but he doesn't overlap. And to give that ball away leading up to Ollie Watkins' goal was not really the best. And yet that goal will almost see him certainly start the next game. to the detriment of Kieran Tierney. Our defense is also starting to show a few mistakes. I remember wanting to see Jakub Kiwior coming in place of Gabriel. So again, the biggest issue is a win like this could mask over some issues. Obviously, Arteta might not want to make any changes, but from what you saw, Kyle, what changes would you make from this game today for our visit to the King Power Stadium?
Manny, first of all, what I would do, what I'd say is, what I saw there, everything, Manny, is coming from the right-hand side. Ben White and Saka. Everything involved in that today was all down that side. And Ben White, I thought, he had a good game because he was
Overlapping.
He was overlapping Saka. Now, on the left, I didn't see any of that happen. So what I would do, I would change it up and I would play Kieran Tierney. Yes, Shevchenko scored a goal today, but defensively he was shocking. I thought overall he had a bad game. Kieran Tierney, Trossard, and Martinelli up centre forward and get rid of that Eddie Nketiah once and for all. I don't ever want to see that man in Nancy again. He's a disgrace, man.
I agree.
So
I absolutely
what I would
agree.
do, Martinelli, I thought Martinelli today when he came on, he was kind of more central. So I play Martinelli central. He has speed. He's direct. He's a threat. He has an eye for goal. He's more dangerous than Eddie Nketiah. I'm more dangerous than Eddie Nketiah. So my team for the Leicester game would be Ramsdale, Tierney, because Tierney will overlap Trossard. The same way as Ben White will overlap Saka. And then I play Jorginho and Xhaka and Odegaard. But I'd be having a little chit-chat with Odegaard. He needs now to start raising his game. There's no excuse for that miss today. No excuses. and if we would have drew that game today, well, I will put all the blame on Odegaard's shoulders. He's a lucky man because I was out for him. I was out for him, big time. So, I still play him. But as I say, Manny, my biggest decision will be the left-hand side. It will be Tierney, Trossard, and Martinelli then central. And I keep the rest of the team the way they are then with Ben White. Because that Tomiyasu was absolutely fucking useless.
Mm-hmm. I get that. I get that completely. And certainly Ben White had an improved game. But Central, coming to you now, you've heard what Kyle has said. Another issue here could possibly be the continued mistakes between Gabriel and Saliba, which still could result in goals being conceded.
Yeah.
Do you agree with Kyle that defensive partnership in the middle should be retained, or would you give the Polish guy Kiwior a start or two?
I think, let's get that Polish person, get that Polish lad a game, man. I think the whole Gabriel Saliba thing has been stale. I think, it kind of worked, and at this moment in time, I think other teams know the Saliba Gabriel partnership, and I give that Polish lad a game. I think this is going to be like a gamble with that guy because we're going from Spezia from Serie A, and this is like, man, I was like never, this is make or break of that lad. If you had a bad game, man, that's like, wow, welcome to the Prem. I think just change up the defense. Keep Ben White. I think he's playing good. Then play Tierney, and then just play. I don't know who you're gonna play that Polish lad. Are you gonna replace Saliba or you replace Gabriel? For me, I keep Saliba on and put that Polish lad replace Gabriel. Man, I think I think Leicester is now push around. They just beat Spurs 4-1 last week. That's my 2 cents on it, man.
Yeah, and certainly, of course, with that attacking threat, we can't take that lightly. Of course, if you were to replace Gabriel with Kiwior, it would be substituting a left-footed centre-back for another one. So that would at least, show some intent. And, again, just taking a look at the run of games that we've got coming up. Now, for the foreseeable future, we actually have a better run of games coming. And I'm going to share this with all of you right now. This is the beauty sometimes of StreamYard. You sometimes are able to, add a little bit to the proceedings. And I'm sure we can see everything. So obviously, confirmation of this result, we've got a win over Villa. a trip to the King Power Stadium next week. And then, of course, a few days later on, this Arsenal-Everton match should be our game in hand. And then we've got a home clash against Bournemouth, an away trip to Craven Cottage and Fulham, a home clash against Patrick Vieira's Crystal Palace, followed by Leeds, and a Liverpool team which, had a derby win over Everton, but still, have not really shown that they are, on their way back. And I know that Niall is in the chat right now from the upper tier, and I'm sure that might not necessarily make him a very happy chappy, but it is what it is. Let's take a look at some of the chat. We've seen it. Yeah. So Aces has said it'll be interesting to see who we draw on Friday in the Europa League last 16. Danny VR in the chat, thanks for joining in. What's the crack? What's the bleeding story? How are you doing? And all that stuff. That goal by Saka was 10 out of 10. If you enjoyed that goal by Saka, Danny, I'm sure the Jorginho one would have been an 11 or a 12. And I hope you beat the Manx to the title. I hope so too.
I know.
Lenny Moon, good to see you back in. Alan Attich, Kyle, everyone loves you. They love what you lend to these streams, shooting straight from the hip, telling it like it is, but always with a smile on your face.
Thanks, lads. I really, really appreciate it, Sido. And Manny, I'd just like to say that we have the chance. I'd just like to say to you all, when I first started, I started videos 5 years ago with a channel, even longer, when I wanted Wenger to go. And I gave up on it. And I came back into this because of Del Boy. And a big up to Del Boy for us. And then I got to know you, Manny, and all the rest, Central, and all the rest of the people. And I just like to say, I started my YouTube channel, and I would have been happy with only 10 subscribers. I'm now reaching 170, and the support I'm getting is immense, and it means everything to me. So I'd like to say a big up to every single one of you. Every one of you. Only for you, I wouldn't be here.
Terrific. Better late than never. Good to have you back. I know we've got some people wanting to come on, but at the moment, Del Boy's away from the computer. But once he comes back in, I'm sure you'll all be added in. More chats. More chats. Let's see who's in. Dave Riley says, no matter how bad Villa are, we've shown character. And Niall from the upper tier saying, look at the happy head on Mr. Walsh. Get in. BX Gunner says that maybe Xhaka should be dropped. Well, the problem is, BX Gunner, if you were to take out Xhaka, would you possibly bring Zinchenko into the midfield and Tierney at left back? We'll see about this. And Craig coming in saying it's going to be a very good evening. Alan says Xhaka definitely needs to be dropped with Partey and Jorginho to start. Another can of worms there, Alan. Partey might not necessarily be fit. And when we play at the Etihad, as Danny VR says, we've got to go in really hard. Hopefully we'll have a really strong team then. Xhaka left the wingman stranded all game, says BX Gunner. Trossard would have had far better support with maybe Fabio Vieira. Interesting call. I think the one time Fabio was played on the left side of the midfield didn't really go too well. Alan saying, sadly, this manager will never ever start Tierney. When Zinchenko was hurt earlier on the season, he played Tomiyasu on the left ahead of Tierney. The problem with that, Alan, was he played Tomiyasu as a sort of an inverted left back against Everton because he wanted to stop Mohamed Salah coming in, and it worked that game. But in the subsequent two games, he looked like a duck out of water. And then Tierney had his chance to come back in. And then BX Gunner saying Kivior definitely needs to be integrated, and we need to also get our 3 points at. Danny is a Liverpool supporter saying we've got to get 3 points at our Anfield versus Arsenal. So we'll see how that works. And obviously, coming up later on the season, that should be something to deal with. Now, there's another question to be asked, sort of segueing back to what Ace has said. It'll be interesting to see who Arsenal draw on Friday in the Europa League last 16. So my question is, of course, we didn't really make too many signings in the January transfer window, so we can't really say that our bench has been completely strengthened. Although I will say that at one time, we would only have 3 centre backs in the entire squad: Gabriel Saliba and Rob Holding. Ben White, of course, being used as the right back. So we haven't really strengthened in the areas we needed to. We certainly haven't gotten the striker we need. And our Europa League action will be in March of this year, coming up ahead. But Central, let me ask you first. Just how confident are you of us going far in the Europa League? Because, of course, this is also going to be a chance for us to win some European silverware and earn a backdoor entry into the Champions League, perhaps.
Yeah.
Are you starting to get a little bit more confident, or do you think we still have a few issues which could be exploited?
It's depend we get in. It's depend down on the draw. Like, yeah, we need to win that Europa League. We haven't won it so far. We haven't won a European trophy for 30 years. So far, last time we played in Europe, we got knocked out by Villarreal in the semi-finals. It depends who we get. It's depends who we get. Man United's got we might get we might get Man United if they beat Barcelona this Thursday. Don't know. I think Juventus is still in it. Atleti, I think they're still in it. Because we're in this situation, like we're in the Europa League, like we've been in the Europa League for like 6 years now. So far in those previous appearance in the Europa League, like in the first appearance in the Europa League, we got crashed out in the semi-finals by Atletico Madrid. Then the following season, we reached the final. We got like destroyed by Chelsea in Baku. Then the following season after that, we got crashed out by Olympiacos in I think it was the last day 2. And then that season we got crushed. We got knocked out by Villarreal in the semi-finals. That was our last appearance in Europe, and then we're back this time. We need to focus on take a bit of a break of the league right now, and focus on two competitions. Like we're still in 2 competitions, like still in the league, still in the title race, and also we're still in the Europa League. We need to dope. I sick of this club pick and choose what competition we're going to win. I hate that. For a big club, acting like a big club, we should go for trying to win. We might not win 2 trophies this season. At least try have a crack of winning a trophy. Trying to win this trophy. We haven't won it ever. We haven't won it. We lost 2 finals in 2000 and 2019. It's the time we're getting in the last 16. We got to here's our A game. Let's put our strong team against that team we'll play in the last 16, and then cruise to the quarterfinals, then the semis, then get to the final, and then attempt to win that final. Man, it's like if we, because Arteta's, I think he said in the interview years ago that he's going to win the Champions League in 3 years, but you wasted 3 years, mate. If you're we're still in the top, if we'll still get top 4 this season, but you better win it next season. Otherwise, adios, muchachos, you're gone. That's my 2 cents.
Well, I love the Spanish because, of course, Arteta is Spanish. And Kyle, I'm going to come to you now. I'm glad you're still here because obviously we've seen this sort of an attitude that basically, it doesn't matter if we're out of the FA Cup and the Carling Cup. We've got bigger fish to fry. And, for what it's worth, we still now have a little bit of the initiative by getting 3 points today. And with the run of games that we've got, we should be able now to look to go back to getting wins in all those games, regardless of what Manchester City do. But of course, with the Europa League coming up, as Central has said, we could potentially having some tough teams en route to the semi and the final. Would you like to see us winning, going all the way to try to compete for that as well? Because seriously, given our lack of European silverware and the only European trophies we've won are now defunct, surely we can't consider this a small fish that doesn't need to be fried. We must try to go for this. What do you say?
We're Arsenal Football Club, and for me and the standards that I have for this club, have to win it. Have to win it. We have to face whoever we're going to face. This business of who we're going to get in a draw and who would you like to see in a draw. To be the best, you have to beat the best. Bring the whole fucking lot of them on, Manny, I say it. Beat them, get to the final, win it. First European Cup since 1994. Ain't the fucking story.
Absolutely.
That's my standards. And this business of resting players and blah, blah, blah. I get up at 4:30 a.m. every morning, going to work 12-hour shifts. As far as I'm concerned, these lads are getting £200,000 a week and the rest. They should be able to play football no matter where they go. They're on snooker tables these days. No excuses. We're now fighting for the Premier League. And in my eyes, we're fighting for the Europa League. I don't care who we get Friday. To be the best, we have to beat the best. Let's go and let's get these 2 trophies in our cabinets. That's it, man.
Right.
We're in the Emirates Stadium, my friend. Let's bring home a European Cup to the Emirates.
I completely agree, and I realise that there are some of you who are trying to come on to StreamYard and have you say. I'm sorry, sadly, due to circumstances, you can't be let on. But in case you can't come on, you're welcome to have your say in the chat in the chat on the YouTube video, and I will read out all of your comments.
Yeah.
I promise you that. And of course, so before we go on, I couldn't agree more with what you said, Kyle. But the problem is, as I said, we haven't really strengthened in the January market. We've only brought those 3 players. There is still some concerns that we probably may not have the squad to compete to really sustain a challenge for those 2 big trophies, which would really look wonderful in our trophy cabinet after God knows how many years. But do you still have some belief that there are some players also who have been so in the cold for so long, if they were to be thrown in for the Europa League, do you have faith in them that they will do the job? The likes of Tierney and maybe Kivior, for instance.
You have to have faith in them because these lads are playing a high standard of football and they're with in my eyes, a huge club like Aston Football Club. So I would have faith in them, man. I'll put faith in them. It's up to them to go out and perform. I expect them to perform. And if I was in the dressing room, they would perform. And that's a fact. But you just don't know with this Arsenal team. I don't care. My standards are still so high that I don't care who we play. Put them out on the field. It's 11 against 11. Have no fear. There's an old story, Manny. And I go back to us. And this is my motto. This is just what I think. Iron Mike Tyson, feared boxer. And he was training one day and there was a fella that was training with him. And his sister-in-law came into the training gym, and Tyson was hitting on her, and he was trying to do all sorts with her. The next day, the man came back into the gym, and he put a shotgun up to Mike Tyson's head, and he said to him, "You ever try to do anything on my sister-in-law again?" He said, "I blow your fucking head off." He showed no intimidation, showed no fear. That's what I'm talking about, Manny. We, no matter what player we have, no matter what opposition we have, no matter what stadium we're in, you have to have the mentality that I always say. You go out, you face your opponent, you put the law down, and you're there to win. That's it. That's their job.
Agreed.
That's it. None of this intimidation and players that's not playing constantly. You put that on. You perform to the highest level. And if not, fuck off out of the club.
Completely agree. I mean, there is a difference, of course, because if Jez and Warren were here, they'd say the crest is all wrong. It should be the crest that came before that. But I completely agree with everything you said. And of course, certainly for the likes of Tierney and Kivior and maybe Matt Turner, this will be their chance to prove that they belong at Arsenal and that they should be considered with some more chances. And you might not get a bigger stage than a European campaign.
I just like to say, Manny.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're spot on, Manny, in what you're saying. And the other thing, Manny, is just think about this. Just say Saliba, I hope this don't happen. But just say Saliba or Gabriel broke their leg, just for talk's sake. And this Polish lad, he has to go in then, Manny. There's no other option. He has to go in and he has to show that he's Arsenal. You know what I mean? So this is where I'm coming from. That's what I'm saying to you, Manny. Trying to say to you that no matter if you're on the subs bench, if you're not involved in the first team, you have to be ready to go, Manny. You have to be ready to go. Pumped up to the last.
Yes, absolutely. And if Trossard and Jorginho could do it, that is the example for these players to set. We just received an update from Del Boy right now, but before that, let me get back into the chat. Alan Atich saying, good point, Manny. Thank you very much indeed. Also saying we need Jesus back. He makes everyone better with his play. Couldn't agree more. And I think I will speak for Kyle, Central Man, Dell, and everyone else in the chat when I say that if I never see Nketiah in the starting lineup for the rest of the season once Jesus comes back, it will be too soon. We've got Carney O'Connor in the chat. AFC 84. Good evening to you, mate. How are you? Actually, good afternoon, rather, but whatever. It was a good decision to start Trossard over Martinelli today because it got the result we wanted. Martinelli was back amongst the goals. Nketiah seriously needs the same treatment. Yep. Good decision. Keyboard all over the place. Don't worry, I understood everything you said. We've got Graham Jones in, Daddy and the Don and his mates. As much as the wheels might have started to fall off a little bit, the old Arsenal would have lost today. So it is a mark of the change seen this season. And you have a point there, mate. We've seen, Arsenal grind out results like this on many occasions before this season. And, this is just a continuation of that, and it's really wonderful to see. And finally, we've got Del Boy Gunner saying, "Sorry, everyone, my dog escaped from my house, and I'm out looking for him, mate. Do take good care of him. I'm glad you're still in the chat. We might possibly go on for maybe about another, I want to say, 5 or 10 minutes. We might do some player ratings, and then we'll probably end this stream if it's okay with everyone. Let's all pray that Del Boy finds his dog safe and sound.
Yep.
Having a pet going missing is absolutely horrible, and we will hope and pray that you find him. Our love and prayers are with you, Del. Khan AFC 84, no worries, Del. SLHD saying, Jesus, good luck, Del Boy. Love domestic animals. And Daddy and the Don saying you could always try Trossard up top. That is, of course, an option that has been discussed.
Yeah.
But another point of view, Graham, is that maybe keeping Martinelli up top, keeping him in the centre, and giving him a chance to score goals, that would really, 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 do the job and do just fine. And Danny VR saying, well, thank you for the compliment. I tried, but I am no Del Boy. This is his platform. He's made it his own. And, as much as we miss him, I have to do what I have to do. It's like Kyle said, if suddenly you have to step into the breach, you got to do what you have to do. It is what it is. But it's always going to be Del's platform. I'm just glad to be a part of it. He's always my first, my last, my everything. And now, of course, we will take some time to go into some player ratings, starting from, of course, Aaron Ramsdale. Personally, I thought there's a part of me that would like to think he could have done better for the Ollie Watkins goal, given that he didn't really get down too quickly enough, and maybe he was unsighted for the Coutinho goal, but he made a couple of saves in the second half that were goal dust, especially that one from Leon Bailey, which threatened to, give Aston Villa the lead back. I think he certainly he's recovered from those two poor games against Brentford and Manchester City. Central, how much would you give our rock at the back?
Ramsdale, very difficult. I give him like 5 out of 10. Like the two goals, he can't do nothing with the two goals. Like I think like the second goal, I think it was a deflected goal. I think, like some people say like Ramsdale's been poor. Like I disagree. He's been like he's not been amazing, but at the same time he's not being poor. He's been like right in the middle for me. I give him 5. He could do a lot better with the goals, but he did kept this team back still in the game. Without him, I think Villa will probably won this game.
Yeah, for me, I'm more tempted to give him maybe a 7 out of 10. Kyle, what about you? What would you think?
We won the game, Manny, and I think that if Leroy Bailey would have scored that goal, it could have been a whole different outcome. I thought that was a vital save from Ramsdale, and for that, I give him 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10 is exactly what I'd give him too. Now, of course, we come to the defense. Ben White brought back into the team today after Tommy Asu's horror show against the Citizens. Back to something like his best, overlapping well, working well with Saka. He also linked up well with Jorginho in a way, and certainly caused Alex Moreno many, many problems. Aston Villa definitely need a good left back. Maybe Tierney going over there could solve a few problems, but certainly he's obviously he's reacted well to that dropping, and certainly he had a better game today. Kyle, starting with you, how much would you give him out of 10?
Yeah, like you say there, Manny, the man, I thought Ben White, he came back to form there today. I thought he worked hard out there. He overlapped a lot. He was dangerous. He put in some good crosses. I blame him for the first goal. I thought his defending was terrible on Watkins there. Overall, I give Ben White a 7 out of 10.
Okay, fair call. I'm glad you mentioned the defending for the Ollie Watkins goal. But actually, I think Saliba would be more at fault, because even after Ollie Watkins' first touch, He didn't really do much to try to put his foot in, and we will get to Saliba in a minute. But Central, would you agree with a 7 out of 10 for Ben White?
Yeah, 7 out of 10. He played fine. He played fine, Ben White. I think he's been overplayed. I think the reason why he was playing badly, I think he's been playing too much, man. Like too much games. I'd rather they just go with a rotation, one game, like in the first half of like the first half of the game, play like White in the second half. If we're losing or not playing well, or play Tommy Aston and vice versa. So yeah, I think Ben White. I think he did get stuck in, and the same Ben White before the blip we had. So
okay, so we're both in. So what's your rating out of 10?
7
right?
out of 10. Yeah. 7.
Yeah, so 7 out of 10 across the board. Now we come to Saliba. I think we've sort of alluded to it. His defending for the Watkins goal was certainly not the best. And he's starting to slide a little bit, in my opinion. Central, what would you give him?
This is a very difficult reign for Saliba because I think he was responsible of the Watkins goal. Besides that, he was a bit shaky. He's right for me. He's right. I give him like a middle rating score. I give him 5. Man, he's been not been terrible, but at the same time not being great.
I get that completely. Kyle, what about you? Are you disappointed with Saliba's drop in form of late?
Yes, I am, Manny. It concerns me, especially this time of the season. It's when you don't want it to happen. He's supposed to be a leader. He's supposed to be, a dominating figure there. A big presence, and I don't see it. He's fallen off the mark a lot. But I give him for today's performance, Manny. I give him I'd be like Central there. I give him 5 out of 10 there, Manny.
Okay, 5 across the board. Gabriel Magalhaes, also questionable at times. Recovered a little bit after that horror show against Manchester City. Kyle, how much would you give him?
Yeah, Gabriel for me is the same as Saliba. His performances are very, they're not on point of late. And again, it's a concern for me, especially now going into these latter games. So I'm going to go for a 5 out of 10 as well.
Central?
Yeah, 5 out of 10. Yeah, I give him 5 out of 10. He was responsible of the Coutinho goal. When it shot. Coutinho shot the ball and it's hit Gabriel on the legs, and then Ramsdale kind of dived the wrong way. But besides that, I think he did recover. Similar to Saliba, a bit shaky. He played like Saliba, not terrible, but at the same time, not great.
Yeah. So I will say, of course, that second Aston Villa goal was a brilliant team goal, and a lot of the commentators were saying that dummy by Emi Buendia to let it go to Coutinho, who had a shot, that could count as an assist. Villa were terrific in that first half in patches. We did pressure them, though, and in the second half, they just fell to pieces. Now, Zinchenko. Very controversial that he's continuing to be selected and playing. I think he's probably now played the best part of about 450 minutes or so. Non-stop, and Tierney hasn't had a look in. And certainly, while his defending for the game, as Carl said, has been shocking at times, I thought he was also culpable for the first goal. He did make up for it to some extent with the goal, which is very well taken. But it's still hard to really put too much of a positive spin. And many of us are still calling for Tierney to come back in, even if even despite this goal. For me, I'd be tempted to possibly give him a 6 maybe, because I know he can do better. Central, would you concur with that?
Yeah, I give him 6. I think without him, we probably lost this game. He scored. Scored that. That was a good goal by Zinchenko. But in defense, he was bad. He's not a left back, man. Zinchenko. He's more of he flies better as a midfielder. I think he should. In future, just play Tierney, man. I give him like 6 out of 10.
Yeah, and SLHD in the chat agrees with you. Tierney needs to come back. Zinchenko is not a left back. And as we're discussing, we could possibly play him as a second defensive midfielder in a 4-2-3-1, which would work. Kyle, how would you rate our Ukrainian left back?
Yeah, Zinchenko from me, he goes into midfield, drops into midfield. I thought overall, he had a terrible game today. He scored a goal, and for scoring the goal, I give him a 4 out of 10.
Ooh. As always, Mr. Walsh with his high standards. Nothing can be put past you. The
No.
way it is, the way it
Yeah.
should be, the way it should be. Nothing to be changed, and
Yeah.
that's why we love you over here.
Yeah.
Now
You
we
have to
come
call
to the.
facts. Go ahead, Manny.
No, go ahead. Are you saying you have to call?
No, you have to call the facts, Manny. The man, to me, his job is to be left back, and he's not producing the goods. And he's going up, he's pushing into midfield, he's not overlapping, he's not doing what left back should do. Kieran Tierney has to come back into the team all day long.
Absolutely. We've got to have that overlap. We need that overlap. The sooner, the better. Now, of course, we come into the three-man midfield. Let's start with Captain Otis Sittergaard or whatever. I think it's fair to say that if you were to throw him into the River Thames, he'd come out with a trout in his mouth. That's how lucky he is today, as you said, Kyle, especially given that sitter and the 2 goals that were scored. There's a part of me that thinks that now you and I have had so many spars in the past over him, and I'm starting to see your point of view. As talented as he is, he just doesn't impose himself on the game very well enough. And if more and more people just start to double team him and really attack him, he could be in trouble. And it does give me a worry, especially with Tielemans and Maddison coming up at the King Power Stadium, what could happen to him. How would you, Kyle, let me start with you. How would you rate our Norwegian captain today?
Well, first of all, in my eyes and in my opinion, he's no captain. He's not physical enough, very timid. If you press on him, he disappears. Big patches of big important moments of the game, he goes missing. That there today was a huge opportunity to score to make it 3-2. Can you imagine Patrick Vieira or Tony Adams missing that opportunity? The thing is, Manny, for me, this man is not a leader. He's not a captain. And he looks good. He's a very, what way will I put it? He looks good because he's always running and people say he put in the effort. For me, today, disgraceful. He gets a 3 out of 10 for me.
As it should be. And of course, he does look good with that boyish face and his well-gelled hair.
Of course.
But that's because that, but then, listen, I mean, Steve McManaman was criticized as really looking too good without putting in too much effort. Did well at Real Madrid, but apart from that, yeah. Central, what do you think of Odegaard?
He's never the same after the Tottenham victory. You know, he's got that epic goal against Spurs, but besides that, he's been poor for the last few games, man. It's hard to rate this. I give him 3 out of 10, man. He's not a leader, man. You know, that is absolute stupid, and I'm not gonna use the word retarded, but it's dumb to give him the captaincy. He's not a leader, and he's wearing the number 8. He's wearing like Nasri's shirt number. You know, I drop him. In the next game against Leicester, drop him. Play Zinchenko, man. You know, he's got to let us down, man. He's not the same. Like, he had a good season. So far, this is his best season, Odegaard. He's acting like the same Odegaard from last season. Like, you know, he's just like, you know, he had an opportunity to make it like, I don't know, 5-2. How the hell he missed that, man? You know, Martinelli passed it, and Odegaard just missed that chance. He's a ball merchant, man. You know, I'm glad Real Madrid got rid of you, man. You know, if he was at Real Madrid, those Ultras fans will chase him out Madrid and Spain.
I get that. And, you know, they took back Danny Ceballos and left Odegaard with us. You can imagine, really. Now, of course, we come to a person who I have to say would definitely be my man of the match, and I hope the 2 of you agree. And let me also say so far, it's wonderful how the 2 of you with your ratings have pretty much been, you know, on the same wavelength. Even me as well, I could agree. I mean, there's a part of me that thinks 3 for Odegaard's harsh, but, you know, I cannot argue with Mr. Walsh. But Jorginho, Central, the goal, the way he played, how much would you give him out of 10? Jorginho.
Okay. Jorginho. I think I give him out 8 out of 10, man. Like, that was a good goal, man. Like, it's just like hit the crossbar and Martinez just like deflected like into that back of the net, man. You know, he saves our bacon, man. Like I'll keep it short and simple. Like 8 out of 10. I think he got stuck in. You know, he's not like the same Jorginho at Chelsea, like he's disappearing. He's not, I used to rate Jorginho at Chelsea, and then he was never the same after when Chelsea won that Champions League. But yeah, I think he's starting to like being the same Jorginho from years ago when he came to England. He did. I think he did play. He played good. He got stuck. He's trying to he get stuck in. I think yeah, 8 out of 10 saved us. Otherwise, would be I don't know, getting a point or another defeat for the Gunners.
Potentially, yes, potentially. And Kyle, we've already had an extensive discussion on him. For me, he'd be my man of the match. I'm tempted to give him a 9 personally, but 8 is not small potatoes. What do you think of our Brazilian import, Italian
Yeah,
Brazilian import?
well, I thought he did his job well today. He didn't put too much wrong, and then he came up with that marvelous strike near the end of the game for a very important 3 points. So for that, I give Jorginho a 7.5.
Okay, so close to 8, and he could potentially be our man of the match. I'd like to think, because of course we will be coming into Leandro, not Leandro Trossard, I think. Yeah, no. Granit Xhaka comes in. Granit Xhaka comes in, and we've had some talk about Granit Xhaka about how his standards have started to dip a little bit, and he's one person also whose legs might be starting to disappear a little bit at times. Looks a bit leggy at the end of every game, and then Fabi Vieira comes on and replaces him of all people. And today, well, I wouldn't necessarily say that he was at his influential best. Tried to get stuck in a great deal. I don't know if he contributed very much to the game. Kyle, what about our Swiss master?
Yeah, Shaka. Shaka has had a very good half season. The best half season he's had for Arsenal in 7 years. And fair play to him for that. But the second half of the season, he's been very poor. Back to the usual Shaka that we all know. I give Shaka today a 5 out of 10. And I hope and pray that at the end of the season, we pack his suitcase and send him back to Switzerland. Because he's not good enough for this club, man. And he hasn't been good enough since he came here. His time is up. His legs, like you said, Manny, his legs are starting to give in. And I think it's time from the wave to the fans goodbye at the end of the season.
Couldn't agree.
Yeah, he gets a 5 out of 10, Manny, for me today. As far as I'm concerned, he's finished.
Yeah, very sort of a leggy display, not very contributing very much. A 5 out of 10 could be fair. Central, would you concur with that? For Xhaka?
Shaka, for me, he's been quiet. I didn't really pay attention for Shaka. He's been like, he didn't play badly. He didn't play perfectly. He's been like, I give him a 5 out of 10. I think he's been very quiet, man. I think I agree with Kyle. He's on his last legs. I think he's 31. You can't rely on old players for next. You got to focus on the future, man. I think I give him till the next. I give him till the next season, man. Sell him next season. Like and get this summer get a Xhaka replacement. But yeah. Besides that, back to this game, I think he's been quiet. I think he needs to step up his A game, man. He's had a good. Yeah, so don't get me wrong. He had a good season. He's having a good season. The best season he had since he came to the club in 2016. But yeah, he's acting like the same Xhaka from the previous seasons he came to the club. Being like sideways passing, like trying to get, I don't know, trying to like do some stupid things. Man, I think I'm gonna say 2 things about Xhaka: shake up or get out.
Yeah, I'd say so too. I think a 5 is definitely fair. We got a few chats here. Alan is saying that maybe Saliba deserves a 6 out of 10 because he played well in the second half. That is certainly something to consider. But again, the fact that he's slipping a little bit is really concerning. And we have an update from Aces from the City game. City are 1-0 up at the Forest ground, the City ground. I believe it was Silva who scored. So if they score and win, of course, they will be back, but we will still have that precious game in hand, which is always going to be desirable. Now, of course, we come to the front line. And once again, going from right to left, we're going to start with Bukayo Saka. He's one player, and Kyle, you'll definitely agree with me on this. I always tend to worry a great deal about him because, he runs so much and provides so much energy. And whenever he gets tackled heavily or has some sort of an injury scare, we all get scared with him because he could be one person who, defines our season. And as you've said, almost every single bit of the play was happening on the right through Saka and Ben White and, Jorginho also contributing. Odegaard not really doing very much, it has to be said. But Saka's once again proving why Arteta doesn't want to drop him. And for me, he certainly proved why. His performance, of course, was terrific, even if he started to drift a little bit in the second half as he got a little bit tired. But that goal, of course, was brilliantly taken. Martinez was unsighted. And Central, how much would you give our star boy?
Saka. I give him a 6 out of 10. That goal he scored in the first half was good, but the second half he was dropping off. And I was scared about Saka, man. He was gingery. He's like laying down, man. It's like I said to myself, man, really need Jesus coming back, man. Like Saka is just Saka is a proper injury way for us in a crisis, man. If he gets hurt, then what? Then what? It's like relying on Reece Nelson, really. But anyway, yeah, I think he gives like the blood. He gives his like blood. He gives his all blood and guts to this team, trying to like help Arsenal win this winning game, trying to help to win this title. He's a not born leader, but he's got that winning mentality. But for me, I think he needs to, like, in the next getting its last day, he needs to be on the bench. For reasons like precaution, I don't want to get hurt. I don't want Saka to get hurt. He's that for Arteta, man. He keeps like pushing him. He's pushing him to the limit, like very limit. In that injury rate scenario, if he gets hurt, like, oh shit, like he's on that number 7 pretty damn well, man. Saka, man. He's one of these players earn that stripes, to win that number 7. Odegaard without number 8, wearing Nasri's number, no. Smith Rowe, like the kid, but he's injury prone, wearing that number 10, no. Gabriel, that wearing that number 6, wearing Tony Andon's number and Sol Campbell's number, I think. It's a bit debatable. I don't want to get into that, but anyway. But besides that, he didn't play. He played okay. He didn't play. He played fine, but like in the next game, just put him on the bench, man. Just play Trossard. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not too sure who you'd replace him with. You said you didn't want to replace him with Reece Nelson, but if we drop him, I just don't know who could come in and play that position. But Kyle, I mean, he scored a goal and looked good in the first half. In the second half, he did start to tail away. What do you think of Bukayo Saka?
Yeah, Saka's like I always say, Manny. Saka's a very, very good player. He's a very dangerous player, and he gives it his all. And I never ever put him down because he puts in the amount of effort, and he shows the high standards and the bit of mentality that I'm always talking about. And I know Central spoke about numbers on jerseys, and he's right. And this is just me, Manny. I always said he's a very good player. He's not a world-class player just yet. You talk about number 7. When I talk about number 7, I talk about Robert Perez and David Rocastle. And Saka is none of them. So that's what I say about that. But
don't forget Liam Brady. He wore the 7 too.
Liam Brady as well.
Really?
So we won't say anything about that. But that's just 3 players I like to talk about. But what I'm saying about Saka, he's our best player. Definitely our best player. And he's doing marvellous posts like this. He's playing too many games. He's always there. Every game, he's always there. But you said a good point there, Manny. Who do you play instead of him? So Saka, for me, has to start every game for us to keep pushing forward. He is only an injury away, but he's a strong little boy. He's ready to take tackles, and he's strong, and he's fit. Keep at it, keep playing him. I give him for today's performance 6.5 out of 10.
Ooh, okay, so 6.5. I guess that's fair because I mean you can't really expect to have a high rating based on one half and just tail away a thing. He is getting attacked though, and we'll need to look for a contingency plan. And now we come to Leandro Trossard, who started today after some calls. To me, the way I look at it is that he started okay, well enough. He certainly proved why he deserved to start, moving the ball around, cutting in whenever he needed to. He certainly did cause a few problems on the left, although probably not as much as on the right. But he certainly proved that he was decent value for his start until he was subbed off for Martinelli. Kyle, what do you think of Leandro Trossard?
Trossard, yeah, the left-hand side is a bit of a worry from me anyway, no matter who plays out there. It's kind of an isolated position at the moment because everything is going down the right-hand side. So Trossard was out on the left. What I want, like I said to you before, I want Tierney to play so he's able to overlap. I didn't see Shevchenko overlapping at all. So Trossard for me today, he gets a 5 out of 10.
Ooh, 5. Fair enough. I mean, personally, I'd give him... Yeah, I think 5 sounds fair because, again, he probably was a little bit, quiet in the second half as well before being hooked off. Central, I don't know if you're there, son, but if I'm not sure what rating you'd give to Trossard, but we'll probably just overlook that. And oh yeah, good to see you back. So we're talking about Leandro Trossard. How much would you give him?
Sorry about that. I was putting my jumper on. It's getting chilly. Anyway, for Trossard, boy, this is hard. Like he was quiet, man. Like dog, I'm not like he didn't play badly, but he's been like a little quiet. In some of the portions of the first half, he was lobbing balls in the box. But it's not his fault. He's trying to get used to his new team. Like I'll give Trossard some time. I think he's gonna be a good player, but he had I think 5 is a okay rating for him. I think I was about to give him like 4 out of 10, but besides that, I think 5 is okay. I think he's trying to get used to his new club. It's a big club. You're in the big leagues now because this is not Brighton anymore. You got to step up every game. I think in the next game, hope he starts in the next game, and hope he in the last game against Brentford, he scored the leading goal. But I think in the next game against Leicester, I think he needs hope he shows up, show that potential he used to had at Brighton this time with Arsenal.
I get that completely, but that sort of segues into the issue of Gabriel Martinelli because he was the first of the subs that Arteta made. He came on for Trossard. I thought when he came on, he started to look a little bit better. He was starting to get a lot better down the left and really starting to run a bit and getting a bit of his mojo back. And of course, scoring that empty net goal near the end was the icing on the cake. The game had already been won by then, as far as I'm concerned. That was just something which really put the gloss on proceedings. Central, he came on for about, I'd say, the best part of about half an hour and looked good, had a goal. How would you rate Gabriel Martinelli?
Martinelli, I give him a 7 out of 10. He played decent. The same Martinelli before we had that blip. Wow. I'm gonna try to keep it short, simple, guys. I think that goal he scored to make it 4-2. It was typical Martinelli style. It reminds me like Alexis Sanchez to be like Martinelli. He's a mini Alexis. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so that's a pretty good call. And Kyle, maybe Martinelli's performance today is a reminder that, sometimes players need to get dropped and brought on as subs to, prove a point or two. Scored a goal, looked okay when he came on. What do you think of Martinelli?
Give Martinelli a 6 out of 10. He came on, he was dynamic. He ran, he wasn't afraid, he ran, he was trace, he did well, he scored his goal. So you have to give the man a 6 out of 10. Are we forgetting a certain Eddie and Kitty?
Yes, we are, because I don't want to waste airtime hearing angry reactions. We all agree that he is not worthy of discussion, let alone a rating. And that's why I'm moving on to Tomiyasu. So he also came on for Ben White to sort of shore things up. He was part of that double substitution along with Martinelli. Looked a bit better. I think he certainly looked a bit better after being taken out of the public eye a little bit, but certainly coming back, he was brought on to defend, knew his role and did it quite well. How would you rate him? Kyle?
I give Tommy Asu a 2 out of 10. I think the man is useless.
Okay, Central.
Yeah, Tommy Asu. Wow. I call him Tommy Shirt Sales. That's what it really is. Tommy Asu. They only bought him for shirt sales because he's Japanese. But don't get me wrong. Yeah, he didn't play. I didn't really like track Tommy Asu in this game. He's a bit. He had a quiet game. You know, he didn't play a bad game, but he played a bit quiet. You know, I give him like probably 4. That's the rate I'm giving.
Yeah, I suppose that's fair. And obviously, Rob Holding and Kieran Tierney came on with about a minute ago. Didn't do very much. I'm not too sure how much you can rate them. And of course, as I said, we're not bringing Eddie Nketiah into the discussion. So I suppose the final thoughts today would be this win was certainly earned at the at the best possible time because, you know, as I've mentioned with the run-in we've got after Leicester, we do have a run-in of games which should be fairly comfortable for us, I'd like to think. As I said, we've got Everton coming up. Revenge will be on the cards. Bournemouth, that's also another home clash. A trip to Craven Cottage, and of course, match up against Patrick Vieira's Crystal Palace, and then Leeds, and then, of course, Liverpool. So this is going to be a period, gentlemen, where we really now have to take advantage and start consolidating and getting back to winning ways, because getting 3 points in each of these games now will be really, really important. We will obviously discuss some of those games later on, but for the Leicester game, you've obviously spoken about the changes you'd like to make. What score line would you think would be good? What would be your predictions for the Leicester game? Central, we'll start with you.
Oh yeah, like the Kim Power. That's a difficult place to go for Arsenal. Yeah, that's a bogey place. It's not going to be easy. I think if I guess the score of the Leicester game, the next game, I'm going to give it a 2-1.
2-1 to who?
To Arsenal.
Okay, could be a very tight game. Mr. Walsh, what about you?
Tight game, tough atmosphere. Leicester start to score goals. There'll be a threat on our defence. Our defence will have to up their game. Saliba, Gabriel have to be on the ball. But I still think that we might have enough to beat them. So I'm going to go with the same. I'm going to go 2-1 to Arsenal.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. A little update, of course, from other action in the Premiership. Goalless draws at half-time, but Southampton are 1-0 up against Chelsea, and they're going through all sorts of problems now. No matter what sort of team Potter picks, they just can't score any goals. I think that's what you get for dropping Aubameyang. He could still do a job, maybe, with an Arsenal connection.
Yeah.
But, so on that note, gentlemen, we are going to have to go. And I want to say thank you to Del Boy. I hope you found your dog, mate, if you're still in the chat. And thanks a lot to Aces for those Premier League updates as well. I've mentioned it to you. And hopefully now we seem to have got a little bit of confidence back. But I just hope, and I'm sure you all agree, that this win should not paper over the cracks. And we need now to make sure that we continue the work against Leicester. It will be tough. It won't be easy. Tielemans, Maddison and company will certainly want to run hard at us. And so we're going to have to make sure that we do everything right today at the King Power Stadium. Let's hope for the best. So it's about that time we get everyone to shout out their socials. Central, let's start off with you. Where can people find you?
Oh yeah, my Central Band Network on YouTube. My subscriber count is 340 subscribers.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. And what does your channel specialize in, by the way? Give us a bit more detail. Yeah.
More details. I do sometimes. I haven't really like done it football. I haven't really reacting to